I've had the song in my mind. It's been, I just can't get over it. You know, it's like Juniper, Juniper,
Oh,
something about it. I mean, every time I say the word, it pops into my mind. But we're not talking about songs. We're not talking about trees. We're talking about an automobile that has been intriguing enough to create what I last heard, 130,000 Chinese people to go to their dealer or to get online and buy one of those vehicles in just 16 days. That's pretty dang exciting.
it is. It's a full quarter of production in a couple weeks. And these aren't reservations like you saw with the Cybertruck. These are orders. These aren't even pre-orders. These are orders. You cancel, you lose your order deposit. So it is, yeah, it is happening. It is real. And I've seen the number disputed. Well, how do we know? Maybe that's Tesla trying to pump up the numbers before end of quarter because they know they've got a disastrous earnings coming out. Look, it's not Tesla publishing these numbers. It's people tracking the VINs. And I don't know if the 130, I haven't seen 130, I've seen 100, but that was a week ago. So 130 seems very believable. I don't believe that's just for the China market. I think that's for cars made in China for whichever markets they serve, which would be Asia Pacific. So any way you slice it, it's good, it's strong, it's encouraging. The reviews that have been coming in have been very favorable. It is what we hoped it would be, and a little bit more, not significantly more. Some people were hoping it would be a whole new ball game. And you'll get those people who say, I had a guy try and tell me in the comments, well, I won't buy it because I was expecting 48 volt. Why would you care? That doesn't make sense. 48 volt, you'll never see or feel the difference. If anything, it might be slightly less reliable. So get real. But no, it is exactly what I was expecting. I think it's exactly what a lot of people were expecting.
So I've been pounding the pavement. Well, I've been pounding the internet pavement, trying everything I can possibly do to find out what's happening in Berlin with regard to Juniper sales and what's happening in the US with regard to Juniper sales. I have not been able to find squat. So yesterday I sent off a little missive to you because I noticed that you seemingly had stumbled into, well, because you're an actual pounding the pavement kind of reporter, and that you had stumbled into a showroom, a Tesla showroom, and I thought maybe that the guys, the guys and gals that were working in there might have been able to whisper in your ear, yeah, we've heard this number. And you're like, no, these guys are, no. Anyway, I'll let you talk.
I went to a Tesla Owners Club of Washington event on Saturday, and it wasn't just our event, but we had a delegation there. It was at Electric Era Charging Company. They make public fast chargers. And when I was there, Teresa, the Owners Club president in Washington, said, Juniper's in Bellevue. They open in, 15 minutes. I'm like, well, I won't be there in 15 minutes, but when we're done here, I will head over there. Went over to Bellevue Square Mall, checked it out in person, got to get in it, got to poke it, got to feel the textures, feel the fabric, thunk the door, make sure it sounds right. It does sound more satisfying than before. All of it was exactly what I expected, a little bit more. I did ask the showroom staff. Now, take what you hear from the showroom staff with a grain of salt because they are seldom privy to inside information. And what inside information they get, they're not allowed to disclose. So if they're disclosing it to you and you're some average consumer off the street, they are either violating their NDA or making stuff up. I've heard Jan from Tesla Fix and I did a whole show where we shared single source rumors that we had heard over the years, but chose not to report. And there's some doozies in there. My questions were to test the water, to find out what they might actually know is when is Glacier Blue coming? And is a third row version, a 7-seat version, even being talked about yet? And the answer to both questions would not surprise you. I don't know, man. They don't tell us nothing. I appreciate the honesty. So we don't know. He said, what I can tell you is we've been open for 2.5 hours and we have taken 6 orders for Junipers.
Hmm.
He didn't say Junipers. He said the new car. Juniper is not the real name. It's not the official name. It is the internal project name. But the English language is a beautiful thing. If you use a word to mean a thing, it becomes correct. And we've used it enough. It's correct.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So he took 6 orders. I asked the question on X. Multiple people showed me their filled out order page. So we know that the community is doing it. There would seem to be two obvious groups of people that would be quickly purchasing these. These would be people that want to upgrade their existing Model 3 or Y, or possibly downgrade from an S or an X to get this very high quality crossover. And then there would be the people that have been or there's three actually, waiting for a Cybertruck and have given up. I did a poll on that and found that almost 20% of the people said that they were going to give up and buy the Model Y. And then there would be the third group, which is just be people that were wanting to buy a Model Y all last year, but they wanted to wait.
They couldn't. They knew.
They wanted to wait for the Juniper. Yeah. So those three groups would seemingly create a pretty big opening number.
Yes, I agree on all points. It's pent-up demand from those sectors for sure. I know people who reserved the Cybertruck at 39,000 said, if I can get this truck for 39, I'd be crazy not to buy it. That truck doesn't exist yet. When it does, it might be 59. So 20,000 more. I get inflation and all that, but this is not what I signed up for. I'm out. And I've had people I've spoken to as well who've said, I was hoping for the single motor, but if it's got, only 200, 250 miles of range and it's, slow compared to no, this is a very good car. I'll take this. So it is, all of those buckets have some pent up demand. Now, what I told Teresa, because, I'm a Tesla investor, but I'm very concerned, as I said, you know what, Teresa, I'm thinking after all this, I'm going to sell my car. You know what I'm going to probably get? A Juniper. She was like, oh, Brian, you scared me there for a second. I'm like, come on, say what you like. It is the best car out there. It is, especially dollar for dollar. But even if you take off the dollar limitations, the cars you can find that are better than the Model Y refresh are better in one category or two. There is no car that is better in all categories. That's not a thing. That's not a thing, Randy.
All right. So now you're in the showroom and you're getting a chance to smell, taste,
yes,
feel,
mostly taste,
visualize, get your eyeballs on, listen. What were your takeaways? Were there any things that were especially exciting to you? Were there things that you think that you discovered that nobody has yet reported on? Or what do you think?
I caught a few things that were new. Let's start with some of the things that are probably known. Two of the colors at launch that are available are Quicksilver and Ultra Red. Those are two fantastic colors. If you like them, they're included in the cost of the launch edition. It's got the launch edition badge and the launch edition light that shines down from the door. Great, fine. One of the things that was mentioned was it's got a new position to rest your hand on the wheel at the bottom of it. So of course I had to try it out. It's a little opening right at the bottom. You can just put one hand in there and it feels great, feels nice. One change that I had noticed that apparently had come on other models, but without any fanfare, is, the sliding cover that covers your center console storage area. There's now a second part that slides back to reveal your cup holders. Apparently that had come out on other vehicles that have been made over the past year. I had not seen it, so it was new to me. It appears to me the rear windows roll down a little farther than before. So that's nice. And the trunk, Sawyer made an exhaustive list of all the improvements, and this didn't make the list, but the trunk opening is wider than before. Wow. Doesn't matter all the time, certainly not something you'd necessarily notice, but when you're loading in bags of dog food or luggage, you won't notice, but it's easier. Those are all helpful. And of course, you've got now a drain plug in the front, so it can be your cooler. It can be your beach day barbecue holder for all things perishable. So,
So I keep hearing that the stock is different.
yep, it's thinner. It's
Oh,
thinner. You remember how thin stocks were on like a 50s era Chevy where it's
yes.
just a little piece of metal? It's not quite that thin, but it's very thin and elegant instead of being chunky.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's just the one stock, not both. I have seen a few people online complaining, why are they doing this? I have a Highland and it is great. I don't even miss it. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about the small number of people who wouldn't buy one because it's not there. And if we're talking 3, 4, 5%, that's a lot when you multiply it by the Model Y's sales. People have, and I've seen the doubters saying, you don't understand. This car is nothing new. First of all, it is a bunch new. It's so, it's the front is different. The back is different. The entire inside is different. Three of the pieces of glass are different. Um, the suspension is different. I don't know what more you want. They
Right.
took the best selling car in the world and made it better. Well, it's only got 3% more range. No, no, my friend, that is the stated range. If you look at the Model 3's old stated range versus new, you'll see they're about the same, but their real world range is substantially
Mm.
better. It has improved dramatically. And if you're doing a road trip, that means you will probably take at least one charging stop off your daily drive and get the same. You'll still arrive at your destination refreshed. So it's all those things are good.
All right. And what is you said, okay, I'm sold. It's just a matter of which day or which week. Are you going to wait for the third row?
So here's my plan, and you folks at home can give me your feedback on this because I have some referral dollars stocked up in my account. I've got 7 remaining referrals. If I can max those out at that point between the referral dollars that I can use to apply to my car and the $7,500 credit, I would basically be getting the car for like half price. Uh, I would be insane to not get it.
Right.
I am going to wait, certainly for launch edition to end. That extra 10, 15 grand, 20 grand, I cannot afford it. I get that those are all valuable things. I do not need them. I do not need the fanciest paint or the largest wheels. I don't want them. Just give me a car that I can afford. So launch edition will need to end. And if a third row comes out, that's when I'll buy it. If
Okay.
it doesn't come out and we're getting close to the end of the year when my credits start to expire, I'll get it then
Way.
and maybe just have a second car for when I need a third row. Less jazzed about that, but uh, you know, with a deal like that, it is so much better of a car. On my road trips, I would take that. It would be just wonderful.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing, I think, one of my thoughts has been that it's now time. It's now okay. I've been wanting Tesla to advertise for a very long time, but I haven't been that concerned about it because they were selling out.
Hmm.
Then in 2020,
Yeah,
and then in
let's
2020,
talk ads.
and then in 2023, 2024, they weren't selling out. And I thought, well, come on now. You put some ads out, at least test it. Put some serious. I mean, I know television is a dying location, but the folks in the Midwest still watch TV, and those are the ones that aren't buying the cars yet. So let's see if we can reach them somehow. Well, now we have we have the 3 probably best vehicles you can buy across all. If you take safety, which is, by the way, among women, it's their number one concern.
Hmm.
So if you take
Is
safety,
that just when they're around you?
yeah, just when they're around. Say
Sorry, go ahead.
you got safety, comfort, stereo, sounds. What do you call it? The entertainment system.
Mhm.
Um, you know,
Performance,
creature
yeah,
comforts, performance,
styling. Mhm.
stuff months. What do you call it? Running costs, the average cost per month to keep it. All of these things are just phenomenal compared to virtually any other car at this point for the Cybertruck, the Model 3, and the Model Y. That doesn't even count the luxury versions, which are, I guess even better. I mean, they're a little bigger. They offer things like gull-wing doors and things. That now you add in that report that we did yesterday that the monthly cost on a Model 3 is less than any other car in the United States. The cost to keep the car. It would seem like maybe we need to tell people these things.
I would agree. I think it's absolutely true that I still get people from time to time saying, "Whoa, I'd love to get something like that, but I can't afford it." And I go, "How much do you think it costs?" And they say 80 grand, 100 grand. And that was true for so long that I can understand the misunderstanding. You and I are in the bubble. Everybody watching this is in the bubble. Things that are second nature to us, things that we know inside out, are completely foreign to the average person. When I was going down to see the rocket catch, which I was fortunately able to cancel because I would have missed it due to the timing anyway, I would tell everybody about it because I was so excited. And they'd say, "What are you talking about? What is?" And I'm like, the largest rocket ever flown has already come back and been caught once. And they're like, "Caught?" I'm like, "Oh, geez, where do I start with these people?" And my own, a very close friend of mine who is a very sharp guy and a tech kind of guy, had not seen the dual landing of the Falcon Heavy until I showed it to him. And he said, "It looks fake." I'm like, "Where have you been? They've done hundreds of these landings, my friend." And he lived in Texas at the time. What on earth? You got son of a. Anyway, people don't know. We can't get mad that people don't know things they're not exposed to. Popular culture doesn't exist the way it did even 20 years ago. There is no modern day equivalent of Friends or Seinfeld. There is the Super Bowl. Maybe that's something to consider. What I'd like to see him do is when you make your next commercial, all that footage that you leave on the cutting room floor, make it available to us for B-roll.
Yeah.
I won't use it. I've got plenty of my own B-roll that I've shot, but there are a lot of channels that you watch them and you're just like, "Oh, there's the lady waving at the camera again on the Model 3 assembly line. Yes, hello, you're famous." So I think I understand the hubris that says we don't need to advertise. Need is a strong word. Maybe we want to advertise. Maybe there are aspects, and in the comments, let me know what are the aspects that you think need to be covered. What would convince your neighbor that this is the right car? Yeah. So and it could be any of the things you mentioned. I don't think we need to talk about speed anymore. People know that. Styling, it's a matter of taste. They can tell by looking if it's for them. And just generic branding, I think that's not what Tesla needs to do. You see that with Cadillac commercials where it's just Cadillac, drive one. No. Let's spread some news here.
So, one last thing that you did not say with regard to your visit to the showroom.
Yes.
People have said, "Oh, the picture doesn't do it justice. It looks way much better in person." What?
So when I first saw it online, I was like, "Huh, okay, yeah, it's fine." And then over time, it grew on me a little, but seeing it in person, at worst, it's a normal car. But the more you look at it, it looks great. It looks fantastic. And I would say that part of it is the contours of it can trick the eye a bit because what you're seeing is flat. And in real life, I don't know about you, but I have stereoscopic vision, which allows me to perceive things differently in person. I'm glad that I was able to get the opportunity to go. As you know, I do not get invited to these events. When I get my hands on something, I'm always able to find things that others overlooked. This is a pretty seismic failure on the part of Tesla. I saw people angry. How come nobody's covering this Motor Trend, Car and Driver? None of these guys are covering this new product release that all of us are covering. And the answer is they don't have a PR department. The PR department's job is to invite these people in before it releases, let them have their access, embargo it until a given date, and then everybody runs it. No PR department. No one gets in early. I think Kyle from Out of Spec was able to get in early. He was the only person I saw in the US. In Europe, a lot of people got in early because they have a PR department. So we don't get to eschew the benefits of a PR department and then act surprised that Car and Driver didn't assign a reporter to drop everything and find a showroom and go out and look at, but not drive it. That's crazy talk. And if we need to not be crazy people.
That would be good. Well, speaking of crazy people, if you are on the edge, if you're on the verge, you're not 100% sure whether you are or you aren't, well, then drop over to the Future Ozza channel and follow on Future Ozza on X. I'm not on Future Ozza, I mean just Future Ozza on X. In fact, if you just put down Future Ozza in anywhere, it's just put it on, just put Future Ozza, and you will undoubtedly end up on something that is owned by, run by, managed by, where you'll see this sweet face.
That is, the lies are so sweet. I appreciate them.
All right, that's all I got. You got anything else?
No, this was I'll try and look at the comments. I don't always get to them in a timely manner because this isn't my channel, but I will see if I can answer any questions. And a lot of questions have been addressed in some of my videos. So yeah, hopefully it helps.
All right, okay. And as always, it's been great talking to you.